Agni. Mandalam 1, Suktam 36B. Rishi,
Kanva Ghaura,
Devata, Agni, Chandas,
Brihati, Shato Brihati.
Mandalam 1, Suktam 36, Rik 11.
Whom Agni, intelligent and wise guest, had kindled from truth above, your impelling forces had shone forth. To him these hymns. Him, Agni, we strengthen. Mortals are guests in existence, and Agni a guest within each of them. Poets have this habit of very prudently including their names into the flow of words of their compositions, mostly towards their endings, to indicate the author of the work. This composer seems to have done one better. He seems to have used a name that could be his own pseudonym or the name of an immediate ancestor that applies equally well to the personified Agni. The composer achieves two purposes with one prescription. The name in focus is Kanva Medhatithi, which literally translates as intelligent and wise guest. Understanding Agni and his various expressions of truth, where truth, in the context of divinities, describes the only way that they act given prevailing conditions. This is what is attempted to be described by the phrase kindled from truth. All divinities representing forces of nature need Agni's assistance in a definitive way to accomplish their own definitive tasks. The notion of seers and their hymns strengthening Agni can be attributed to the process of personification and the resulting notional exchange between mortals and divinities. The mention of Agni as a guest could be due to the perspective that mortals are guests in existence, while Agni is a guest within mortals, assisting them in doing whatever that they are ordained to.
Mandalam 1, Suktam 36, Rik
12. Do bestow wealth, master of spontaneity, for Agni, your alliance is in divinities. You govern from abundance and hearing. Gracious, he for us is the mighty. divine hearing then and now. The phrase Agni governs from abundance or knowledge, and its hearing can be compared to the current global buzz about scientists having heard the chorus of gravitational waves that ripple through the universe caused by innumerable celestial bodies everywhere. While sound moves through a material medium and is detected by the instrument that is called an ear or a microphone, gravitational waves move through the medium of space-time and can be heard too with an appropriate instrument. The understanding that Agni is the force behind all activities and hence all divinities, and its expressions are definitive, enduring, and universal, makes seers that include contemporary scientists fathom the presence, features, and manner of activity of objects that could perhaps never be seen, approached, or experienced directly. Upon the conviction that the universal architecture has a fractal characteristic, the knowledge so gained is extrapolated to realms beyond the mundane as well.
Mandalam 1, Suktam 36, Rik
13.
ऊर्ध्वभूषणभूतये तिष्ठा देवो न सविता ऊर्ध्वो वाजः ससनीताय धन्यभिर्वागद्भिर्विह्वयामहे.
Besides, do stand erect for our assistance, like divinity Sun, erect one who is procured from abundance, when with brilliant invokers we call. Signs for the seekers and signs for the proletariat. Science for a vast majority of mortals has very little to do with the collection of mathematical formulae and their application to situations in life, and mean much more in terms of conceptual visualizations. Take the sun and its manner of existence, for instance. It is born of a molecular cloud shaped by gravity, fired by atomic fusion, producing electromagnetic radiation that pervades space around. Every one of these characteristics can be deemed a universal truth on the basis of their spontaneity of happening and the only manner that they can anywhere else in the universe. Being truths, they are part of abundance in the Vedic manner of articulation. An entity that is born of and sustained by truth can only stand erect, not being weighed down by the burden of falsehood. Standing erect by the power of truth, the sun sustains all life in its neighborhood every moment across eons while it is around. In Vedic thought and parlance, again, the sun sacrifices itself for the welfare of those dependent on it, seeking nothing in return, and so is looked upon as an ideal. It is conceptual knowledge such as this that Rigveda imparts. Those wishing to study the phenomenon deeper become seekers and scientists, the brilliant invokers.
Mandalam 1, Suktam 36, Rik
14.
ऊर्ध्वो नः पाच्यम् नाथो निकेतुना विश्वम् तमत्रिणम् तः ऊर्ध्वाञ्चरसाय जीवसे विदा देवेषु नोदुवाः.
Erect, do protect us from sin in continuance. Altogether, do scorch every devourer by discernment. Do make us erect for moving to live. Do recognize our stirring in divinities. Divinity-directed behavior. Living as we do in a closely interconnected and interdependent existence, at the personal level, indulging in an activity not expected of us or not doing one that is expected is termed a sin and has consequences. As Agni and the other forces of nature are constantly striving to maintain equilibrium in existence by discernment, it is acknowledged in this verse that we are made to live according to the needs of the moment by the divinities. Find our stirring in the divinities. This is science too, behavioral science to be precise. Perceptive observers may see reflections of the physical laws of nature projected upon it. The Vedic premise of the universe being a single unit, materially and consciously, engenders a universal perspective towards any localized situation in order to have a wholesome understanding of its outcome. That in turn gives us an idea of how everything is organized and made to work.
Mandalam 1, Suktam 36, Rik.
15.
पाहिनो अग्ने रक्षसः पाहि धूर्तेन रावणः पाहि रीषादभूतपाजिघां सदो बृहद्भातो जविष्य.
Agni, do protect us from demon, do protect from harm, from envious, do protect from hurter, and also from killing. God of fire, youngest. Heterogeneity, a precondition for evolution. It will perhaps be incorrect to equate the equilibrium that we understand to be the maxim of existence with homogeneity. Existence can evolve only in an environment of heterogeneity, which is the essence of the domain of duality that encompasses everything in the material world. The concept of duality extends even to that frightfully portentous object called a black hole, which has a theoretical counterpart derived as a possible solution from the same equation of relativity, from which the formation and functioning of a black hole is derived as one. While space-time inexorably flows into a black hole, it does so in the opposite direction from a theoretical white hole. With all divinities ensuring the prevalence of heterogeneity and equilibrium together, the opposites, protection and destruction, harm and benefit, and the likes, will always be around operating in tandem. If Agni protects one, it will destroy another. If it benefits one, it'll harm another. The verse, however, seems to be an expression from a localized standpoint and not one that is universal. This then, if taken literally, cannot be the articulation of an evolved soul, a seer. Perhaps The composer is attempting to show perceptions from the two standpoints in contrast to each other that reveals what existence truly is and how we view it in our ignorance.
Mandalam 1, Suktam 36, Rik
16.
घने भविष्वद्विजक्यराम् हस्तपद्यम् भयो अस्मद्भृगन् यो मर्त्यस्त्रिशीते अत्यक्तभिर्मानस्तरिपुरीशत.
Like a mace, do ward off widely envious on every side, burning-jawed, he who is inimical to us, he, the mortal, who sharpens beyond by nights, let he not rule us. Mortals, privileged pawns from every perspective. Agni and the other divinities, in their pursuit of sustaining equilibrium in an heterogeneous environment, strictly follow a mandated course. Mortals seem to be mere pawns in this fascinatingly staged play called existence. Divinities, too, considering their limited scope of operations that are undeviating, may also be nothing more than pawns, except that hierarchically they may be placed upon higher pedestals in the perspective of mortals. The question of restoring equilibrium to a system is valid only when there is a deviation away from a standard in the first place. Existence can then be imagined to be a perpetual oscillation between the two opposites of duality, between good and evil, between peace and turmoil, with the divinities aiding the entire cycle to happen as dictated by the established or ordained frequency of the cycle. The verse describes this truth in Vedic phraseology, clearly implying that mortals have hardly a say in directing the course of life, while divinities do, which is valid if divinities, time, and the unmanifest supreme are all bracketed as one class of entities that may be an acceptable assumption when viewed from the mortal plane.
Mandalam 1, Suktam 36, Rik
17.
अग्निर्वौने सुवीर्यमग्निः कन्वाय सौभगम् अग्निः प्रावन् मित्रोदमेध्यादिमग्निः सादावोपस्तुतम्.
Agni had acquired good strength. Agni for intelligence welfare. Agni had increased towards friends and vigorous guest, invoker in acquisition. The timeless notional leveler of society. The notion of mortals being mere pawns in the grand play of existence is a great leveler in society. Science, then and now, recognizes that intelligence and ineptness are inheritances that can be traced back right up to the singularity from which the universe has evolved. This line of thought gives rise to a strange but potentially truthful visualization that there can be intelligently divine mortals as well as ineptly divine mortals, and all other shades of divine mortals in between. The common factor between intelligence and inaptitude is divinity, which certainly needs to be given greater weightage because divinities from all perspectives are at a higher hierarchical level than mortals. This is the notional leveler of society that is widely promoted by Vedic thought and which is also something that isn't era-specific. Contemporary thought may term it psychology or behavioral science. But what's in a name, after all? It is a sentiment that has been expressed time and again in different vernaculars through the ages. Like the notion of divinity being a societal leveler, this sentiment too is indeed eternal. Every mortal is a divine, intelligent unit, its intelligence being the prime mover of its physical self to do acts that it is ordained to, and Agni is ever ready at hand to offer his services towards this end.
Mandalam 1, Suktam 36, Rik.
18.
अग्निना दुर्वसंयतम् परावत उग्रादेवम् भवामहे अग्निर्न यन्दवभास्त्वम् बृहद्रथम् दुर्बीजम् दस्य वेसः.
With Agni, we call all-conquering Yadu, mighty divinity from far away. Agni led him, who has 9 dwelling places, who has vast chariot, quick mover, a powerful warrior against dark forces. Properly directed and timed words and thoughts can move mountains. Thoughts are said to have the ability to induce strength. We see cultural practices awash with accounts of incidents of long ago extolling a relevant ideality. War cries are articulated precisely for this purpose. It may stimulate each individual of an assembly slightly differently, but the focus will always be on the collective purpose at hand, and the stimulation will be towards achieving it. This too is behavioral science that is meant to be explained by this verse. Words or thoughts induced by them are leveraged by energy or Agni to accomplish endeavors that may appear unimaginably disproportional to the input energy required to utter a word or induce a thought. This is the wonder of science, the marvel of the structure and working of mortal bodies, the phenomenon of the environment from which mortal bodies derive energy to accomplish tasks, the miracle of the precision with which events everywhere in the universe are coordinated, and the fascinating role that all natural forces play in a concerted manner in directing them according to the script of time. Explaining all the above in mundane terms and in a form that makes it to survive for eons and yet be decipherable is a wonder as well. When the synergy of potentials of all natural forces express themselves through a mortal, that mortal is deified and remembered for all time to come. Yadu, the ancestor of Vasudeva Krishna, was one such.
Mandalam 1, Suktam 36, Rik.
19.
नित्वामग्ने मनुर्दधे ज्योतिर्जनाय सस्वते ईते सकन्वा ऋतजातवक्षितो यन्नामस्यन्ति दृष्टयाः.
mortal had upheld you, Agni, in continuance, light for perpetual birth, born of truth, have shone forth in intelligent, one who is full grown, to whom races of mortals bow down. Could mortal and immortal signs be organizationally different yet functionally similar? All distinctions that mortals make between the supposedly different classes of natural forces, their respective expressions, and their roles in shaping existence are essentially mortal perspectives hypothesized for their own understanding of the universe. They further extend this indulgence to personifications and communicating with these thought-up embodiments as well. No doubt, this exercise has its purpose, like substantiating the laws of conduct or dharma and consequences of actions or karma. Cultural practices emerge from this understanding that help maintain environmental equilibrium, both material and mystical. But it is moot whether the natural forces or divinities consider themselves to be organized so. Perhaps, from their perspective, they have an entirely different organizational structure that mortals may fail to understand. The assertion in the verse in focus, "the mortal has established you," probably refers to this dichotomy. If energy is considered the primal force as established by contemporary science too by the theory of matter-energy equivalence, then it is to this energy that everything in the universe owes its existence. The remainder of the verse dwells upon this notion.
Mandalam 1, Suktam 36, Rik
20.
वेषासो अग्नेरमावन्तो अर्चयो भीमासो नः प्रतीतये रक्षस्विनः सदविद्याधुमावतो विश्वम् तभद्रणम् दः.
Impetuous, strong, terrible are the flames of Agni, not for approaching, indeed, always do scorch altogether those practicing sorcery, every devourer. Balance and imbalance. Though imbalance is essential for evolution, unaddressed imbalance destroys. Also, imbalance is not character or quality biased. An imbalance of any kind exhibits the said tendency. The role of divinities is primarily to promote the sustaining ones and inhibit the destructive. Divinities in Vedic thought can be broadly categorized into the functionals and the presiders. The functionals, like Agni, Vayu, etc., successfully catalyze imbalances into sustaining processes that are chaired by the presiders. Unsuccessful catalyzation leads to runaway imbalances that are termed demons, sorcerers, and devourers. But as it is with all stories, whether ancient or contemporary, law enforcement, mundane or divine, does ultimately catch up with the culprits, comprehensively overpowers them, and restores order and equilibrium. Sambhavami yuge yuge. If nothing happens in existence without a purpose, then presiders who chair destructive happenings must be divinities too, and equally venerable. As always, the functionals keep executing their mandate without fear or favor, without inhibition or ill will. If you found this video informative and relevant, please like and share it. If you would like to see more such videos in this ongoing series, please do subscribe to the channel. Thank you for viewing.